Hello guys, my name is Amit and welcome to my channel. Many a times it happens you are creating a Vagrant machine for testing a MySQL database, but the machine doesn't have it. So you have to literally install it by hand. Literally every single time the machine is getting created. Isn't there any better solution that you can install MySQL automatically when the machine is getting up? Yes, there is. And this is the topic of this video called as provisioning. So let's understand what exactly provisioning is. So provisioners in Vagrant will allow you to automatically install the software, alter configurations, and do more with the machine as a part of Vagrant up process. Sequentially, you go for Vagrant init command, provide the box name, and then you can go for Vagrant up, where the machine will start getting created and getting booted. Right at that time, you can use these kind of provisioners and get your required application installed in that machine. So this is very useful since the boxes typically do not get built for your use case. So for example, my use case here is to test the MySQL database. The Vagrant box that I'll be using will not have MySQL installed in it. That's the reason why I would like to use one of the provisioners there and get my job easily done by providing a script. There are many provisioners there. Could be something like a shell, file, docker, chef, puppet, and there are a bunch of others like Ansible, for example. Now if I want to use it, you have to create a provisioning variable here, which is like this, and then you can specify what is the name of your provisioner there and provide more details of it. Like in this case, we are saying execute inline command echo hello at the time of creating your machine. More advanced use case could be like you create a separate file. Say for example, this file name here is boot.sh. So you can say boot.sh. You put all of your commands here. Let's say apt-get up or apt-get install something like MySQL, so on and so forth. And then you provide this boot.sh file to the Vagrant so that Vagrant, while creating that machine, can start executing all those commands. And when the machine is ready, you will have MySQL installed in it. Let me show you that practically. Okay, let's start with this. Let's create a new virtual machine first by using Vagrant command, Vagrant init. I'll be using the box name as Ubuntu. Let's open this file in one of the editors like VS Code and start modifying the configuration. Now because all of these are comments, I do not want to keep them. Instead, we'll just keep only the required part of it like this. Okay. Now because I'm using VMware, I need to go and set a flag called as linked clone equals to false. This can be done by saying vagrant.vm. Something like the provider. So provider, and the provider in my case is VMware underscore desktop. So maybe I can create a variable here, something like do and this, and then we can say linked clone is going to be equals to false. Simple as that. Now when this machine is going to come up, I want to install MySQL and Apache inside it. To do this, we can say config.vm.provision shell, and instead of going inline, we can go for something called as a path and specify one of the files there. I'm going to go for provisioning.sh. This means you are going to create that machine executing all the commands provided in provision.sh. So let's go here and create a new file called as provisioning.sh. Now in this provisioning.sh, I will include all the commands I want to get executed at the time of booting process. So maybe I can say first update the cache, and then we can install let's say Apache 2 or MySQL server and bunch of other applications that you want to install. So that's it. These are only two commands I want to get executed. Now I'm going to go back here on my command prompt and start creating this machine by using Vagrant up. So what essentially does it do here? It gets the virtual machine created. After it gets the address, the IP address, it starts executing all the commands here. So first it will install or it will download all the latest packages to update the cache. And once it is done, it is going to install Apache 2 and MySQL server in it. So this process will get created, or this process will get repeated every time you use the command Vagrant up to create a new machine from scratch. So in short, if I delete this machine, if I destroy this machine and tomorrow I want to recreate it, at that time also I will get the machine by default with MySQL and let's say Apache installed in it. That's the beauty of it. So I do not have to execute these commands every single time I create a virtual machine. So it's kind of automation that we are looking for. This machine almost is ready. It got created. Now it is waiting for address. It got address now. And if you look at this, it is running the provisioning called as a shell, which means it is executing that script which I mentioned. And in that case, as a part of that script, it is updating the apt cache. So see here. And once it is done, it will simply go and start installing all the required dependencies for Apache 2 and MySQL. See here, this is Apache 2, all of them are dependencies. And if you look at towards the end of it, somewhere here, MySQL common, MySQL client, MySQL server, these are the dependencies for MySQL server. So essentially, it is installing both Apache 2 and MySQL on this machine. So again, as I said, the beauty here is if I destroy this machine and if I recreate it, again at that time also, it is going to install these two by default. So I do not have to execute the scripts manually every single time the machine is getting created. It seems like it is almost done. Once it is done, we'll go SSH into it and verify whether MySQL and Apache 2 are ready. It will take a second. Almost done. Yes. These are not errors. Do not worry about them. So let's go here and say Vagrant SSH. Let's go inside the machine. First, I want to verify if MySQL is installed. I can use the command sudo MySQL and this shows me MySQL command prompt. Normally, when you create a virtual machine, it will not have the MySQL installed in it. Normally, again, when I say normally, the boxes are made for generic purpose. So you go and install MySQL manually. But because of this, I think we get it by default when the machine is ready. Let's exit out from here and let's verify if Apache is running. So I can use the command curl and say localhost. This is telling me that yes, there is a website or there is a default web page for this localhost here. If I look at the IP address of it, it is 133. Let's copy this IP address and put it in our browser saying this is my IP address, and what you see here is the Apache's default page, which means when this box is ready, this by default will have the MySQL and Ubuntu. That's what we said last time. Now this is perfectly fine. We already have tested it very well. So in this particular case, we can include all the different instructions that you want to get them executed on this virtual machine. So precisely think about the scenario. If I'm creating a Kubernetes cluster, in that case, I want both the machines to install few applications by default. I don't have to execute them manually on each of those machines. That's where the provisioning comes into picture. So in provisioning case, I can directly write this file which contains all the instructions to be executed on both master and worker, and once they start booting, they automatically get all the instructions executed. So you do not have to waste too much of your time to execute all of them. That's the beauty of using provisioning. That's all in this video. I hope you must have learned what provisioning means and how you can automate your process of installing the applications at the time of Vagrant process. Thank you very much for watching this video and stay tuned for the next video.